Good evening, you're watching 7 at 7, the only news bulletin where we curate the day's top 7 stories for our viewers. Let me quickly take you through. And as we do on each bulletin of 7 at 7, we begin where India stands numerically with its fight against coronavirus. And viewers, we've recorded till now 1,45,380 cases. 4,167 deaths have been recorded across the country. The state of Maharashtra continues to be the state recording the largest number of COVID-19 positive cases of 52,667. This pretty much accounts for 33% of India's overall numbers. The death toll in Maharashtra stands at 1,695, with just 1,000 out of that death toll only in the city of Mumbai. The second state right now with the highest numbers is the state of Tamil Nadu, recording 17,082 coronavirus positive cases and 118 deaths. Gujarat is coming in third with 14,460 coronavirus positive cases, but death of 888 citizens, which is much higher than even the state of Tamil Nadu. So this was the data collated till just about 20 minutes ago, where India stands, at least in numbers, with its fight against coronavirus. All right, let's move on now to our top story. There's been no end to the war of words between ex-allies BJP and Shiv Sena. Shiv Sena MP Sanjay Raut has now hit out at BJP's demand of governor's rule. In a tweet, Raut called out for immediate quarantine of the opponents and said there is an attempt to destabilize Maharashtra government. This comes after senior BJP leader and Rajya Sabha MP Narayan Rane met Maharashtra Governor Bhagat Singh Koshyari yesterday, demanding president's rule because he thinks that the government has failed in managing the COVID crisis. Meanwhile, sources have revealed that there is discord brewing within the Mahagadi alliance itself. Reportedly, there are disagreements in the cabinet regarding the lockdown measures taken. MLA have complained of Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray being incommunicado at times. However, NCP Chief Sharad Pawar has refuted any rift in the alliance. In a statement to India Today, he said he met the Chief Minister yesterday to discuss COVID-19 situation, and his meeting with the governor was nothing more but just about a courtesy call.
त्या महाराष्ट्राची कोरोना संबंधीची परिस्थिती जी आहे दिवसेंदिवस गंभीर होत चाललेली आहे. रुग्ण वाढतायत, मृत्यू वाढतायत. माननीय राज्यपालांनी या गोष्टीकडे गांभीर्याने पाहावं की मुंबईत होणारे मृत्यू थांबवावेत या दृष्टीने प्रयत्न करावेत. महानगरपालिका आणि राज्य शासनाचे हॉस्पिटल आहे ती लष्कराच्या ताब्यात द्यावी, तरच काय परिस्थिती सुधारू शकते असं मला वाटतं. या सरकारची कोरोनाशी सामना करायची क्षमता नसल्याने हे सरकारला आता नारळ द्यावा आणि राष्ट्रपती राजवट आणावी.
राष्ट्रपति राजवट का सपना मत देखिए. अगर कोई देखता है ना तो वापस वो जग नहीं जाएगा, वो सपने में ही रहेगा. राष्ट्रपति राजवट की अगर बात कोई करता है तो सबसे फिट केस है तो गुजरात स्टेट है. अब देखिए, अहमदाबाद के हाईकोर्ट ने, गुजरात के हाईकोर्ट ने वहाँ के तैयारी के बारे में क्या स्ट्रिक्चर पास किया है वो देख लीजिए.
ये जो असंतुष्ट जो है बीजेपी, सत्ता की जो लालसा उनमें है वो मिलते हैं राज्यपाल को, इसलिए प्रेसिडेंट रूल नहीं आता. ऐसा कोई कारण नहीं कि प्रेसिडेंट रूल लाने के लिए.
Meanwhile, the Congress, which is very much part of the Mahagadi government in Maharashtra, seems to be distancing itself. Today, when Rahul Gandhi was asked about the massive toll that the coronavirus is extracting out of the state of Maharashtra, he totally washed his hands, or the Congress's hands, of the crisis. Listen in.
We are supporting the government in Maharashtra, but we are not the key decision maker in Maharashtra. We are the key decision maker in Punjab. We are the key decision maker in Chhattisgarh, in Rajasthan, in Pondicherry. So there is a difference between running a government and supporting a government. And Maharashtra is one of the most important assets, frankly, that India has. It is the center of business. So it requires full support from the government of India. I fully understand that Maharashtra is fighting a very difficult battle, and I appreciate that fact. And so are many other states. And it is important that full support of the government of India goes to the people of Maharashtra and the government of Maharashtra.
All right, so he gave enough fodder to the opposition, a very eager opposition, to attack the Mahagadi. Former Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis hit back at Rahul Gandhi's remark. Listen in.
आज राहुल गांधी जी कांग्रेस के प्रमुख, इनका जो स्टेटमेंट हमने सुना एक प्रकार से जब ये सारी परिस्थिति राज्य सरकार के हाथों से जा रही है तो इसका सारा ठिकरा ये मुख्यमंत्री उद्धव ठाकरे जी और शिवसेना के ऊपर डालने का प्रयास राहुल गांधी जी ने किया है। और राहुल गांधी जी का ये बयान कि हम सरकार में तो है पर हमें कोई सुन नहीं रहा, हम सरकार में तो है पर हमारी सुनवाई नहीं होती, हमें वहां बोलने का अधिकार नहीं है, मुझे लगता है इस प्रकार का स्टेटमेंट ये बिल्कुल अपनी जिम्मेदारी को झटक देने जैसा है, अपनी जिम्मेदारी से भागने जैसा है और सारा का सारा अब इस सरकार के सिर पर, उद्धव जी के सिर पर, मुख्यमंत्री जी के सिर पर मढ़ने की ये कोशिश हो रही है।
Meanwhile, on the other hand, Congress MP Rahul Gandhi today, when he addressed a press conference to questions as well, slammed the centre over what he said was a strategy which went completely awry to contain the coronavirus spread. Hitting out at the Prime Minister, Rahul Gandhi said that the Prime Minister told the nation that he will defeat coronavirus in 21 days, but now we are in the 4th phase of the lockdown and the curbs have failed to produce any results. Rahul also questioned government's decision of relaxing lockdown at a time when COVID cases are continuously rising. The former Congress president went on record that the states are fighting a lonely battle and are receiving no help from the centre.
Now we are on 60 days and we are the only country in the world where the virus is exponentially rising, and we are removing a lockdown. So it is pretty clear that the aim and the purpose of our lockdown has failed.
मुझे आश्चर्य होता है जब लॉकडाउन लगा तब कांग्रेस ने हाय तौबा मचाया कि लॉकडाउन क्यों लगाया, पूरे देश भर में क्यों लगाया, अर्थव्यवस्था तबाह हो जाएगी। जब लगा तो भी विरोध किया, अब अगर उठ रहा है तो उसका भी विरोध करेंगे। तो ये जो कांग्रेस की नीति है ये दोगलापन है, ये पाखंड है।
All right, as India continues to battle COVID-19, the Health Ministry in its briefing today said the recovery rate now stands at 41.6% and the fatality rate stands at 2.87% in comparison to 6.4% globally. The government said that the lockdown helped keeping fatality rate in check. ICMR said India is ramping up its testing and as of now we are testing 1 lakh tests each day. Listen in.
इंडिया में लॉकडाउन और साथ में कंटेनमेंट पर जो हमारे एफर्ट्स रहे हैं उसके कारणवश हम ये पाते हैं कि करीब 10.7 लाख केसेस पर लाख हमारे यहाँ रिपोर्ट हुए हैं। उसके साथ ही अगर हम एक और एनालिसिस डेथ पर भी करें तो जैसे कि हम कई बार इस बारे में बात कर चुके हैं कि कोई भी डेथ रिपोर्ट होना देश के लिए एक बहुत दुख का विषय है, बट अगर हम देखें तो पाते हैं कि जैसे वर्ल्ड में ओवरऑल 6.4% फैटेलिटी रेट ऑब्जर्व किया गया है तो इंडिया हैज वन ऑफ द लोएस्ट फैटेलिटी रेट अमंग द कंट्रीज जहां पर की हायर केसेस रिपोर्ट हुए हैं। हमारा फैटेलिटी रेट यानी कि जो कंफर्म केसेस आए हैं उसमें कितने केसेस में डेथ रिकॉर्ड की गई है उसमें भी हम पाते हैं कि हमारा फैटेलिटी रेट इज वन अमंग द लोएस्ट इन द वर्ल्ड और वह 3.3% से घटते हुए अब करीब 2.87% हो चुका है।
It was very popular drug suddenly when the American government also started using it and they got fast track approval or emergency use authorization for. We had thought that it may be a useful drug for prophylaxis, for prevention of COVID, and taking the biological plausibility one, taking the in vitro data and taking the availability and the safety of this drug, we had recommended it for as empiric use under strict medical supervision about a month and a half back. And then we also said that some studies should be started and to look at where is hydroxychloroquine performing.
All right. Meanwhile, Delhi government is ramping up healthcare facilities as cases continue to surge in the national capital. More private beds have been roped in to help in the COVID fight. This is the latest report coming in.
With COVID-19 cases rising in the national capital, the Delhi government is ramping up the healthcare facilities. The state government is adding 1,500 beds for COVID-19 patients at the state-run Guru Tegh Bahadur Hospital. This will take the number of beds earmarked for COVID-19 patients at both government and private hospitals to around 8,500.
More than a week after the Delhi government eased the restrictions in the national capital in lockdown 4.0, and in the view of the daily rising cases coming in the national capital since then, now the government is ramping up the health infrastructure. The government's aim is to add about 8,000 hospital beds, all with oxygen facilities for COVID-19 patients. And a big step in that, a big boost in that is going to come from the Guru Tegh Bahadur Hospital, the GTB hospital, where the government is all set to earmark about 1,500 beds, all with the oxygen supply for the COVID-19 patients.
जो केसेस हो रहे हैं वो इतने गंभीर केस ना हो कि हमारा अस्पतालों का पूरा सिस्टम बैठ जाए। अगर हमारे अस्पताल इतने मरीज आने लग गए कि हमारा अस्पताल बैठ जाएंगे, हमारे मान लीजिए बेड्स नहीं मिलेंगे, वेंटिलेटर नहीं मिलेंगे, ऑक्सीजन नहीं मिलेगी, अगर ऐसी स्थिति हो जाएगी तब चिंता का विषय होगा।
The Delhi government has already asked private hospitals with 50 or more beds to set aside 20% beds for COVID-19 patients. This will add around 2,000 beds.
Initially, the policy with the government was that they will be giving only and only the COVID earmarked hospital, so that the patients of non-COVID and COVID should not mix. Now, because of emergency measure, so they are forced to put 20% of the beds in each hospital, taking the control of the infection.
The decision to rope in more private hospital beds was taken after about 80% beds earmarked for COVID patients at Delhi's 8 private hospitals were already taken.
With the rise of COVID-positive patients, and there is no more requirement of private hospitals by the patients, the government is taking this step, So if this is required, and there is no problem.
As of now, there are 696 beds dedicated for COVID patients at private hospitals, out of which 509 are occupied. Out of 72 ventilators at these hospitals, 15 are occupied. In government hospitals, there are 3,832 COVID dedicated beds, of which 1,478 are occupied. Only 11 ventilators out of 250 at government hospitals are occupied.
Rising number of COVID cases, the government is now ramping up the facilities, even in the private hospital where the demand is high. In the time of the pandemic, it's now the private sector which has to raise its hand and be counted in the war against COVID-19. With camera person Dinesh Lal, Ankit Tyagi in New Delhi, India Today.
All right, let's shift focus from Delhi to Mumbai. Mumbai battles its worst health emergency so far. The administration is ramping up every effort so that the city can handle the increasing case load. Our correspondent Tanushri Pandey filed this report on our next report from the St. Xavier's College in Mumbai.
The iconic St. Xavier's College in Mumbai has now joined the list of newly converted quarantine facilities. The 151-year-old college has been repurposed to continue serving society, albeit in newer ways possible. The college hall, familiar to millions around the world because of the films that have been shot here, now houses 180 temporary beds made out of cardboard.
This quarantine center is being made only for the close contacts of COVID-19 positive patients in the city, so that the hospitals and the new facilities which are being built up by the state and the BMC, those are not overburdened. And also we have been told that the canteen foyer has also been turned into a quarantine center. Areas surrounding this college has been cordoned off.
Space in Mumbai has always been a luxury. And now, as coronavirus overtakes the city, it is required even more. And city hospitals, already overburdened, cannot provide the quarantine facilities to accommodate COVID suspects. So not just the St. Xavier's College, there are other institutions which have been co-opted to fight the virus. The National Sports Club of India has been turned into a 600-bed isolation facility cum research and diagnostic center. A team of 20 doctors are monitoring more than 300 asymptomatic patients around the clock, but through an e-remote mass surveillance.
We call this the war room, and if you look around, these are our warriors who are working day and night here. Okay, we have cameras. You see the number of patients and the huge facility that this is, the number of beds, and everything is open up so that the cameras can have a look. Even generally, we know what's happening. Also, if there is a problem, we can zoom in on one person and actually monitor that person. So you can on phone immediately direct a nurse who's there or a doctor who's there to go to that particular bed, rush in with oxygen, because oxygen is the thing that is saving millions of lives today. If you look at this picture here, this is a contactless clinic. So what happens is our doctors are sitting beyond this in air-conditioned rooms with filters which keep them safe, and there's a screen across which these patients line up every day for examinations. So the patients are taught to take their own pulse oximeter readings, their blood pressure, their temperature, and a proper dialogue is established through a EPBX system or a telephone, where the patient comes out, then they're counseled.
Not just asymptomatic patients, NSCI also caters to those whose swab tests have come negative but are carriers of the virus. And this is being done inside a mobile bus.
This is a simple X-ray machine. The only difference between this and a normal X-ray machine is that whatever images are taken out over here, the patient stands here, the images go straight onto a cloud through the internet, and then from the cloud, artificial intelligence is used to grade the X-rays into high, medium and low scores. This artificial intelligence score is based on X-rays taken in America, in Italy, in China and various other things. So once you have a high level score, more or less the chances are around the 4th to 8th day that if someone has COVID, you will pick up signs on X-ray. So you don't even have to go into a CT scan. The CT scans are expensive, it's difficult to sanitize. Once we do this, then these X-rays, we can get live images like on the X-ray and computer here. And then if we think the patient is positive, we immediately subject him to a swab out over here.
With hard-pressed hospitals and shortage of healthcare workers, it is felt that Mumbai needs not just more hospitals, but technologically advanced facilities. This report, filed by Tanushri Pandey and Prashant Bhatt in Mumbai for India Today TV.
Meanwhile, several migrants are now returning to their home villages. India Today visited one village in Ayodhya where migrants returned are being kept at makeshift structures in fields.
27-year-old Asha Devi returned to her village from Delhi after she lost her husband to COVID-19. But her trauma did not end even after reaching home. Back in Ayodhya's Gurehata village, home quarantine means banished to live in the fields. The last few days have been extremely tough for this young widow.
वहाँ मेरा सुख दुख सुनने वाला कोई नहीं था सर, मेरे पास कोई नहीं आ रहा था, इतना मैं चीख के रोई थी सर, कोई नहीं आया था मेरे पास। उसके बाद हर जगह में फोन करी, कोई मेरी सुनवाई नहीं हो रही थी सर, इसलिए मैं गाड़ी बुक कर सीधा यहाँ आ गई।
An enclosure created with metal wires, just one cot for Asha Devi and her 3 children. This is where Asha Devi and her children have to spend the next 21 days in quarantine.
सर मुझे यहाँ पे रखते हैं, घर से खाना आया आता है, बस यही लोग सब मुझे दे देते हैं, मैं अपना रात में यही सो जाती हूँ बच्चों को लेकर।
Officials don't see anything wrong with the inhuman manner in which people are being quarantined.
इसमें बाग में रहने से ये होगा कि मतलब दूरियां, सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग बनी रहेगी, तो दूसरे लोगों को इन्फेक्शन से मतलब काफी जो है वो मिलेगा।
For the people of this Ayodhya village, people like Asha Devi have become a spectacle. Asha Devi's father-in-law stands helplessly at a distance.
अब झेल रहे हैं जैसे झेल पा रहे हैं। अच्छा। हाँ, रो गा के अपना बिता रहे हैं। जब पूर हो जाएगा क्वारंटाइन तब ले जाएंगे।
Another migrant family that returned from Delhi is staying in this makeshift structure constructed by locals. This will be their shelter as a heat wave sweeps across North India.
कल से जुटा हूँ, अभी बनाया हूँ, अब 2-4 बंदे को बुला के इसको शिफ्ट करा रहा हूँ। अब यहीं पे 21 दिन तक कम से कम गुजारेंगे सब।
In the nearby village of Mirzapur Khajuri, 2 returnees from Mumbai, Gulsher Khan and Mehtab Khan, have made this mango tree their temporary shelter.
जब मैं अपने गांव पहुंचा तो लोगों को जब सलाम नमस्ते करता था तो लोग थोड़ा मुंह घुमाते थे। इसके लिए मैं अपने गांव के अंदर नहीं गया। मैं इधर ही अपना आशियाना बना के और यहीं रहना शुरू कर दिया।
They have made arrangements for all their basic needs. A cot kept on the ground is where they offer their prayers. Despite these tough circumstances, they continued fasting during the month of Ramzan. While the holy month is now over, their real Eid will be when they get to reunite with their families. With Kumar Abhishek in Ayodhya, Bureau Report, India Today.
We're going to continue getting you the various stories of our migrants as they walk back, some of them still walking. Our reporters spread out, fanned all across India, picking up on these stories. With that, I want to move on to a final story, which we take every day on 7 at 7, where we bust certain myths, certain facts which masquerade to be facts in fact on social media and WhatsApp group. One of the claims that is floating about on WhatsApp groups right now is that antibiotics can treat coronavirus patients. The fact check on that is it's false, all hogwash. It's a virus, not a bacteria, so no antibiotics. Another claim which is making the rounds suggests Chaukidar Chor hai slogans raised for Prime Minister Modi in Bengal. The fact check on that, well, this clip has gone viral. It is an old clip. There is absolutely no slogan that was raised in Bengal, so false again. Another claim that thousands flout norms to shop for Eid in Hyderabad. Well, these visuals are not from Hyderabad. They are from, in fact, Pakistan. So once again, false. So all of these 3 facts is what most would call them. If you see them on WhatsApp groups or social media, they're not facts. They are just claims, and we've busted 3 of them. We do it every day on 7 at 7. Thank you for joining us. We'll, of course, see you tomorrow. Hi everyone, Preeti Chaudhary here. Hope you like this video. For latest news and analysis, like and subscribe to the India Today YouTube channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated. Thank you for watching.